Welcome back to Clemson's Finest Series as we continue with C.J. Spiller, Clemson's all-everything running back. I mean, the records you set is unbelievable. You know, I was going through, you were the ACC record holder for a season for all-purpose yards, career all-purpose yards. NCAA, you're second all-time in all-purpose yards. You hold the NCAA record for kickoff returns for touchdowns still. Now somebody's tied you, but you still you own the first one, so it's yours. I mean, just amazing stuff. So, and that kind of leads us to the 2009 season because a lot of it happened during there. And you know, you as you mentioned in our last piece, you decided to come back, and the excitement surrounding you guys. Coach Sweeney's first full year as a coach.
Yep.
I want to first of all say this: did you guys realize that you were laying the foundation for what we all know right now is going on with this program? That 2009 team, and Dabo's talked about it so much, how you guys were the ones that kind of laid it in and said, this is how we're going to work, this is how the program's going to go, and all this stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, we didn't. We were just so tired of losing bowl games. So going into that season, we were like, we are not going to lose a bowl game. Like we was 0 for 3. We hadn't won one. And you know, a lot of guys on that team had came from very prestigious, historic high school teams that had won state championships. Myself, my high school had won a ton. So we wasn't accustomed to losing. I guess back then it was the big game for us. We weren't accustomed to losing that big game. So going to that whole offseason was about how do we finish to make sure that we the first group to walk away with a bowl win. That was really our whole mindset, honestly. And we knew that it was going to be a tough task. We knew that it was going to be a lot of eyes watching us, just because we got a first-time head coach and Coach Sweeney. It was a lot of unknowns, what was going to transpire. Everybody knew I was coming back, so they wanted to see, you know, how I was going to be used throughout the offense or on the team in general. And then obviously with the defense, you know, we had a lot of pieces over there, but we just didn't know how it was all going to glue together. So our whole mindset really that offseason was just, you know, how do we finish strong? That was really our thing, to finish strong.
Y'all, you know, you came into that year as a Heisman Trophy candidate, the first serious Heisman Trophy candidate Clemson's had since Steve Fuller back in 1978. And so, you know, what was that like for you? Kind of a different feel, I would imagine, that you had, I wouldn't say pressure, but the expectations that were being put on you, I guess?
Oh, no, Coach Sweeney put a lot of pressure on me. When he unrevealed the Heisman poster that we did. I mean, it was a great campaign. And then we had talked about, I think, the last person prior to our dinner was the fridge.
Right.
So I think we ended up shooting it in the same basement that he shot his at. Once we got to the ACC media day for the players and he unrevealed, I was like, oh my God. Because now you have everybody there, they're like, okay. And I remember mine role that played for Florida State, getting the poster and just, I was sitting down talking to somebody with the headset. No, I just remember him just bringing the poster up and just, hey, will you sign this for me? Like, guys just getting a big joke out of it. But to me personally, like deep down inside, I'm like, man, Coach done put a lot of pressure on me. But I was used to it. I wasn't shying away from it. But I just knew now that it was going to be a lot of eyes on me because he unrevealed it at the ACC where you got some of the top guys from each school representing, and everybody getting a kick out of it because now they thinking it's a C.J. Spiller thing. And, you know, that's the last thing I wanted those guys because it's an opportunity for all the guys up there to just enjoy each other and get to know each other. And now we done unrevealed this huge 6-foot poster of me with everything on there.
Well, you started off the year with a bang.
Yeah, I couldn't have started off any better. I couldn't start off any better. And, you know, leading up to that game, you know, we kind of caught wind because I think it was Simmons. I think he was the coach over there on Middle Tennessee, that they wasn't going to kick me the ball. So that whole week and 2 weeks prior to that game, we kind of had to change our kickoff return, how we was going to lay out. So that's why you see Andre Ellington and Jamie Harper in front of me and Jacoby, because we was like, okay, if they don't kick it to us two, at least we got 2 more people that's back there that can return it.
Right.
So we kind of had a game plan for, okay, if they do kick it this way, who was going to get it?
How you going to switch it?
Yeah, I was going to try to switch it at the very last second. So when they kicked it off, I mean, I was very surprised, like, oh my God, he really just kicked it deep. Because I knew Coach Powell, he grew up a great play for us to be able to execute. And I said, now I think it was always take it to the house before we took the field. And I said in my mind, I said, if they kick this ball deep and the other 10 guys do what they're supposed to do, this is going to be a house call. Just because we kind of had to see something on film where they was weak at. Mm-hmm. And when he kicked it deep, I said, oh, this is a house call. And lo and behold, it started off with a bang. I mean, you can't start your senior year off any better than that.
No, I think it's the only time in Clemson history that's happened. And so it's amazing. You go and have this great year, but I think what a couple of things to talk about. You named ACC Player of the Year.
Yep.
You set the single season record for the NCAA for kickoff returns in a season. You set the overall career record as well that year. And then you named ACC Player of the Year. You're going to ACC Championship Game. You're still the only player. I'm sure Tim's told you this. Only player in major college football championship game history to play on the team that didn't win the game, but you're the MVP of the game. Now, was that any consolation, or you would rather just won the ACC championship?
I would have rather won the ACC championship, honestly, because that was really one of our big goals. Mm-hmm. It's something that hadn't been done, I think, at the time in like 19 years for us to even get to that game. So that was one of our goals we want to be the first team in, I think, like I say, 19, 20 years to get to the game, but not only get there, to win it. Mm-hmm. And we're going against a very familiar opponent in Georgia Tech, and unfortunately it just it didn't fall our way that night. And then I remember when they brought the MVP trophy, like I was so close to giving that trophy to Jonathan Dwyer, because I'm like, thank you, but I would rather for us to be celebrating a ACC championship game and going down and playing in Miami, because we knew going into the game, it was like, hey, Coach told us, he was like, hey, we win, we go to Miami. We lose, we're probably going to be going back to Tennessee. So everybody, like, a lot of players from that team knew how cold it was the first time we went there. They're like, man, we're not trying to go back to Tennessee. So we kind of knew going to that game, the two bowl games that we was juggling. So, and I think that's kind of why you see the performance from everybody, because we were just trying to give it all, because we did not, and it's nothing against the Gaylord. We had an awesome time there. But right. we just not want to go back to that cold weather.
Was that ACC championship game? You had 234 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Was that your greatest game, you think, as a player?
As a player?
Yeah.
It was one of my greatest ones, I would say. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of the ones that stick out the most to a lot of people. I just remember just leaving everything that I had out on that field, and knowing that I did everything possible that I could to try to help my team win. And I just remember one run where I'm so gassed out. It's on our sideline down there towards the end zone. And I remember it was either Jamie Harper or Andre Ellington. And everybody always called me Big Boy. They're like, Big Boy, you got to go out there and finish it. I'm like, I couldn't even move. I'm like, nah, you go in there and you get the TD. And Andre ended up going in there, and I think the first play he ended up scoring.
Because that would have been a record if you scored.
Yeah, if I would have scored like 5, it would have been 5. And I literally, I didn't have anything left. I was like, I need a blow right now. And both those guys did a great job throughout that whole season, considering the turf toe I had, both Andre Ellington and Jamie Harper going in games, in crucial parts of games, and giving me a spare, because they just knew that, okay, we see that he's doing everything, but we know when he needs a spare as well.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know that you went that whole year where you, first of all, what game did the turf toe happen? What game was that?
First game.
First game of the year.
Yeah.
And so you went the entire year where you didn't practice at all during the week. You would practice on Thursday.
Yep.
Go through basically the walkthrough, and because Thursdays are always a light practice.
Yep.
And then you play on Saturday.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that. I mean,
yeah.
how aggravating was that, first of all, and how painful was it that with your turf toe?
It was very painful, and I remember the play very vividly. I was returning a punt, and because I remember we had done the kickoff return, so I'm like, okay, if they do the punt, then we're gonna have a chance. And I remember returning the punt, getting ready to make the punter miss. And as soon as I cut, the defender jumped on my back, and I just remember when I got up and I tried to push off, I couldn't push off. And I had never felt that before. And I mean, I had to deal with some little minor injuries here and there throughout my career. But this one was different. I'm like, oh no, that felt different. And I just remember just going over and talking to Denny Poole, who's our head trainer, and telling him like something wrong. Like I can't push off my foot. And we went through a couple of tests, and we went in the back, and he was like, you probably got turf toe, because I'm like I can't push, I can't cut, I can't do anything just on this one foot. And he was like, well, that's what it is.
And what foot was that? Your first step?
It was the right, my right foot.
The right foot.
Yeah.
And everybody knows how explosive you are off that first step.
Yeah, I mean
that's everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I always tell people you don't know how important that big toe is until you hurt it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it was very painful because, for one, I wasn't in the best condition that season because I wasn't able to practice. Like I would get on the water treadmill and do some running on that just to take some of the low impact off it. But I wasn't able to practice until like Thursday. Mm-hmm. And Coach Sweeney always, the joke was like, well, every time I seen you look good on Thursday, I knew it was gonna be a great day on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So I always try to make a good impression on Thursday so he'll have confidence that I'll be ready on Saturday. But I mean, it was painful just from a conditioning standpoint. But like I say, both those guys, and I tip my hat to both Andre Ellington and Jamie Harper because think about it, you have a guy that doesn't practice Monday through Thursday, really doesn't practice all week, and then he's really going to get the buckload of the share on Saturday. I mean, that takes two very special individuals to be able to do that.
Well, you end up at the end of the year, you said one of your goals was to win that last game.
Yep.
And that's still Coach Sweeney's motto today, win that last game.
Yep.
So what was it like for you guys to finally, because a lot of people were, like you said, were disappointed they were going to Nashville instead of Miami. So how did you guys stay focused to say, okay, but our goal is to win this game? Yeah,
I mean, we just stayed focused, and we were playing against a team that we had lost to, 3 years prior in Kentucky. So I'm like, oh man, this is very
kind of goes all the way back.
Yeah, like a full circle came around. I'm like, okay, we got Kentucky again.
And you weren't talking any trash this
time? No, I didn't talk any trash this time. You know, I was a little limp going into it, so I couldn't talk as much trash as I wanted to. But I mean, we just kept our mindset focused. I mean, we knew we had an opportunity to win the ACC, but we didn't. So we just had to make the best of what we had, and you know that we were still going to play another game, and you know that's how Coach Sweeney wanted us to approach it. Like this is a big thing, you know, this to win that last game to something that we hadn't done in 3 years since I've been here prior. It was important to him, but to our team as well.
I believe you scored the touchdown that clinched it, right? And so what did that feel like? Knowing that you just scored the touchdown to meet that goal you guys been wanting.
Yeah, I mean, because like I say, they was doing a great job against our run. You know, they was keying in on trying to make sure that I wasn't going to be the one that beat them that night. And then I remember it being so cold. But
snowed.
Yeah, and then we got down there towards the end to score the game winner. Really, I remember going down like that. It was one of the greatest feelings because I knew that kind of had to clinch the win for us for the night.
All right, so career's over at Clemson, you know, and now it's over. And when you look back, you know, at your 4 years, what do you think? What comes to mind first, and what will always stand out to you about your 4 years playing at Clemson?
That I wasn't invited to New York.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that stands out to you.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, when I say that, it's not from me, from my personal standpoint. It's from my teammates because them guys really, once we did all that preseason stuff that he did, honestly, I was so receptive from my teammates. Like they really pushed. Like we really want to get you the opportunity. Yeah, we really want to get you an opportunity to get to New York. And to me, it just felt like I let those guys down because we didn't get that invitation to go up there and represent our football team and represent our have a chance to represent our university.
I know Tim Tebow is the one that got the vote.
Yeah.
Have you and him talked since that? About
no, that's a good question. I need to ask him, did he vote for me that year? But nah, the person that won, I mean, Mark Ingram, he's a great guy, and I had the opportunity to play with him. But like I said, I just felt disappointed for my guys because I knew how personal that they had to made it upon themselves to give me an opportunity to go up there. But we never talked about it throughout the whole season. We never talked about, me going in the Heisman. Like once we did that in the preseason, that was it. It was all about each game every week. But I knew deep down inside, them guys wanted me to have the opportunity to go up there and represent our team.
Now you came back for your senior year. You graduated. You did all the things you wanted to accomplish from a personal standpoint. So do you think today, when you see young men have to make decisions, that they kind of look back maybe at what you did and that you were able to not only graduate and have a great year, but also, you got that first round pick. You improved your draft stock. Do you think, and also how many times do you get leaned on for that decision?
I mean, I give the guys, like, I'm a big person. Like, if you want advice, I'm gonna give it to you. You know, if you seek it out for my help, you know, I'm gonna share my experience, and I think each case is different for each guy. But I'm pretty sure that Coach Sweeney does a great job of sharing their story with some of the guys that's, you know, having the opportunity to either stay or go, of the opportunity, giving them the story that I had. And you know, I always tell guys, if you can survive one more year, from both a financial standpoint, you and your family, then you should come back. But I mean, if you're just in a strain where it's just very tough for you and your family to make it through another year, then go. But you can't have one foot in and one foot out. And that was really the big thing when I made my decision, that both me and Coach Sweeney talked about. When I told him I was coming back my senior year, I said, I'm not gonna have just one foot in this program and then one foot out the program. I said, when I come back, both my feet gonna be in this thing, and we're gonna try to turn it around. And so that's the biggest thing that I always tell guys, that if you do decide to come back, or if you do decide to go, you got to have 2 foot in. You can't have, if they leave, oh man, I should have went back, because then it's not gonna work out. You're gonna have too much going on. Or if you stay, oh, I should have left. So you just have to be fully committed. You take advice from everybody, but at the end of the day, I always tell them, you have to make that decision. You know, I can give you my experience and, you know, the stuff that I went through, the stuff I was thinking, the advice that I got. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to force you to leave or stay. Obviously, from a ambassador, I guess you can say ambassador standpoint, obviously I'd love for you to come back and play a senior year. But if that's not in the cards for you to do that, then I wish you nothing but the best.
All right, so I want to always ask this because I want to know what it feels like, because I'll never experience it. Your name's called number 9 overall in the draft to the Bills. What was that like?
Man, it was it was another great feeling. Honestly, I just remember picking up my daughter and realizing that a dream that I had as a little kid is finally becoming real to me. I just remember just sitting back there in that draft room, and just talking to, we just sitting back there giggling. A lot of people thought I was actually going to Oakland because they was the pick before. And my phone happened to ring the same time that they was picking. But obviously, when you have the iPhones or whatever, it tell you what state it is. And I seen the 716 Buffalo, New York. I said, I'm going to Buffalo. But it was a tremendous, honestly, it was one of the greatest feelings I ever felt, because this is something that I had to work for my whole entire life, and now I'm having an opportunity to live it out, not just for myself, but with my family and my friends back there in the green room, and then my friends out there in the audience.
So you go and you play in the league 8 years, a very good career in the NFL. What was that like? And when you look back on it, how fondly do you look back at that opportunity to do something, as you said, a lot of kids dream about, but only like 1% ever actually get to do?
I mean, it was
a rare group.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's something that, like you said, a lot of kids doesn't get. I mean, everybody thinks they're going to the NFL, but unfortunately, that's not the case. And especially for me, growing up in a small town, only 2 people in my hometown that ever made it, me and another guy. So that made it even more special. But when I look back at it, I mean, I did everything that I possibly could do. I gave it everything that I possibly could give. I had fun. I made a lot of memories, made a lot of friendships that I still have to today. And I had the opportunity to play at the highest level. When you sit back and say that you actually played in the NFL, to me, that's an honor to be able to say that, because when you think about the millions of kids that dream about doing that doesn't have that opportunity, they doesn't know that feeling of playing in the NFL stadium is something very special. That's something that you don't take for granted.
How different is college and NFL?
I mean, it's just from a business standpoint. You're dealing with grown men, and then obviously you're dealing with money. So that make it, you got a whole salary cap that you have to take into account, and so you can't get always the cream of the crop. And then it just depends on where you're at as far as your team. From a free agent standpoint, some guys. It's nothing against Buffalo, but like some guys, they're not going to probably go to Buffalo just because of the cold weather. And that's nothing to do with their fan base, because to me, I think they have one of the best fan bases in the whole entire NFL. But it's just from a weather standpoint, you're probably not going to get some of the sexiest free agents compared to, like, if they want to go to New Orleans where they're in the South, they're in New Orleans. It's a lot to do there. I mean, so it just depends on that team and where they at for us geographically.
Fans, well, like you said, Buffalo fans are really good.
Oh,
So how
man,
you compare
awesome.
them to Clemson fans?
Honestly, they about the same.
Really?
Yeah, I tell people all the time. I said, really, if you was to put Clemson and Buffalo, it pretty much mirror each other. I mean, they have a very passionate fan base. I mean, they travel very well to both home and away games. Thing that I learned quickly up there is that if that they can talk about the players, but the opposing team can't talk about the players. So they always have you back. And the thing is that they respect you too. If they see you out in public, they respect your time. They're not gonna bombard. They might get a picture here and there, but they're not gonna, act crazy or nothing. So you respect that as a player, that they take that into effect. But they have a very genuine fan base, and I wish them nothing but success because I know how crazy they are to tasting to being right there.
All right, so you made the tough decision that, okay, you're going to end your football career. How difficult was that when you did it for so long that you're going to say, okay, I'm done?
I mean, it's a difficult decision to make because, like you said, it's something that I've been playing the game since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, your career is coming to an end, something that you'll never do again. You'll never put on another uniform. But you're excited about the new chapter because now you have an opportunity to go and reach the youth and share your experience and give your knowledge so they can try to have a better life and go off and experience some of the things that you experienced.
So now these days, so people know you're coaching track.
Yep, coach track over at Liberty.
Liberty. You're thinking about maybe coaching some high school football this year?
Yeah.
So tell me that process of being Coach Spiller. Can I call you Coach Spiller? Am I going to start calling you Coach now?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start calling me Coach Spiller. Because I've been coaching, I've been helping out over at Liberty High School for the last 3 or 4 years. And I mean, it's really been a joy because, you kind of think about the time that you used to put your head coach or your coach through some of them heartaches and not wanting to do stuff. So now I'm kind of getting a taste from a coaching standpoint.
But you're CJ Spiller. I mean, so kids going to talk back to you?
Yeah, they still talk back. I figured that it doesn't matter who you are, they still going to talk back. But you have to lay your foot down. Sometimes you have to be a little harsh on them. So people, I'm probably not the most liked coach from my kids because I'm so hard on them.
That's good though.
But I always have the mindset, and the thing that I'm having to learn is that I want them to do it like how I would have done it. And you can't do that when you're coaching because it's two different type of generations. So, but it's been fun and I'm looking forward to it. But I just try to share my experiences with those kids and try to encourage them that, hey, if you do it this way, you'll have an opportunity to go out and see more than Liberty or wherever the case may be. It's more out there to the world. So I'm just trying to share my little knowledge that I have with them.
I would imagine the hardest part is getting them to practice and to lift weights. The things that are not fun, right? That's the hardest part because the games, that's the fun part.
Yeah, the games, that stuff is easy. The practice is the one where you have to put in all the hard work. That's the stuff that's hard. And, fortunately for me, I had a very successful track coach in high school. So I always call him and get workouts. So he give me the workouts that he put me through.
Oh, nice.
So and I try to put them through it, and it's like it doesn't work. So I have to try to modify it a little bit. Because just the thing I learned is just the mindsets of when I was coming up into how today's kids are. The mindsets are two totally different things. So I kind of have to adjust it. But like I said, it's been fun. I love them. They bring a lot of joy. And then I'm always just striving to be better. And that's the biggest thing.
Last question, and we'll get you out of here. Okay, so in 1975, when Steve Fuller signed with Clemson, he was told, that he was going to start the next wave, and that was the biggest signing at that time. And then we all know the history that followed after Steve Fuller with the national championship, and then go on to what they did in the 80s. The same can be said for you, that you were the different of this era. You were that guy. You took a chance on Clemson and showed that, hey, you can come to Clemson and be successful. How much does that mean to you to know that this fan base and this program looks at you that same way they look at Steve Fuller?
It means a lot because I never really think about that. I was a guy that pretty much changed the landscape, the outlook on Clemson. because that was never really my mindset coming to Clemson. It was here to become a better person, have opportunity to graduate. So I never really think about it until somebody brings it to my attention that I was kind of a stepping stone of this new wave that's coming through. I'm just like any other alum. I'm happy that we having the success. I knew we'll have the success. I knew it was going to take time to build it the right way. That Coach Winnie wanted the program to be built, and I just knew if the administration just gave him time to build it, that they'll love the results that they're getting, and we see that now that with the 2 championships in the last 3 years, and I mean, like he said, the best is yet to come. So I'm just like everybody else. I'm just a proud alum to see that our university is back in that spotlight where it belongs, and that you can go anywhere in the world and everybody's going to recognize that Paul. And to me, that's the most satisfying thing to me.
That's CJ Spiller. Thanks for being here, man. It's been great talking to you. Our finest series with CJ Spiller. We appreciate him being here, and we hope you guys will keep watching for all the stuff that we'll be bringing you this summer on the Clemson Insider.